All right, we are live. This is the pre-show small talk banter here, as we have my new good friend here, Robert Middleton, and he says he is here to help us attract more ideal high-end clients. Is that right, Robert?
That is exactly right. You can pick my brain for an hour and I'll tell you everything I know.
Okay, that is exactly what we're going to do today, and we shall see. We shall see if he can pull it off today and crush it for us. This episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, and we are back with another episode of the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold, your host, and we are live on the virtual stage with Robert Middleton. And I am here for the first time with a brand new camera, so I'm kind of trying to figure that out as we go along, but it will not stop us from getting some deep dives into the topic today, which is, again, how to attract more high-end clients. And we're here with Robert. Are you ready to go, my friend?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Before we dive in, we got a lot to cover here, I'm sure. But before we dive in, tell us who you are, first of all, who you are personally, and then professionally.
Well, personally, I am Robert Middleton, 68 years old, in business for 35 years on my own. And I live in Boulder Creek, California, which is in the Santa Cruz Redwoods. We live half between Silicon Valley and Santa Cruz on the coast, about 25 minutes either way by car.
Nice.
And so we live in the Redwood Forest. We bought a place up here 18 years ago. I live with my wife, Saroj, and our two dogs, Dylan and Mira.
Love it. Love it.
And professionally, I've been working with self-employed people for a long time. And now I really specialize in business-to-business professionals, management consultants, business coaches, corporate trainers, people like that who are looking for more effective ways to find great clients and high-end clients, good-paying clients that they can really make a big difference with.
Awesome. So tell us right now, since this is the Authority Project, what project are you currently working on at the moment?
Well, I have a program called the Marketing Action Group, and I have two going at once. I'm working with 35 clients right now.
Nice.
In a group program that meets a couple times a month for each program. So I've been working on and fine-tuning and building that program for years. I started a version of it about 12 years ago in 2009, and have been doing versions of that program all that time, so 11 or 12 years.
Awesome. Awesome. And I got a new question that I'm going to be asking, I think, all of my guests. So hopefully this isn't too much of a surprise, but I'm going to lay it on you anyway.
Okay.
What is your daily routine?
My daily routine. Well, first of all, I am not an early riser.
No, that's surprising to hear, but go right ahead.
My alarm rings at 8:45. And the first thing I do is I grab my iPad and check my email on my iPad before I get out of bed.
Okay, nice, nice.
Then I have a shower. Then my first appointment is usually at 10 o'clock. I have appointments at 10, 12, 2, and 4 generally, or not. I don't meet clients on Monday. On Monday, I write my email newsletter, do marketing projects, give feedback to clients on Slack, and stuff like that.
Nice.
And so I meet with clients throughout the day, and I'm writing stuff, and I'm developing new techniques, strategies, assignments for my clients, that kind of thing. And at 5 o'clock, I take my two dogs for a walk in the park.
I love it. That sounds awesome. So there it is, folks. There it is, folks. That's the routine. Another routine.
I don't see anybody physically except through Zoom, except my wife and my dogs. Well, I see people at the park, which is a great, that's a great thing with the pandemic, not seeing people. I get to see the same people and the same dogs every day, and it's a nice wind down from the day, from being in front of my computer all day long.
Awesome. So let's dive into where your journey began. Where did you get the motivation or inspiration to get into this line of work, or line of what can we say, lifestyle, I guess?
Well, I got into my business because I am unemployable.
Okay.
And unemployable, like most self-employed people, they don't like bosses. So I had a few jobs, and I just didn't like bosses. And I'm creative. I have a lot of ideas. I wanted to be out on my own. So the first thing I did, my business started in 1984, was actually action plan systems before it came action plan marketing for a few years. And I developed a time management system and taught time management workshops at community colleges, and that's where I got my first clients. Wow. And people said, I need help organizing my business or whatever. But it turns out what most people needed help with was, how do I find new business? Okay. And I didn't know a lot about that. I knew a bit about it, but I am a student of information. So I read a bunch of books, close to 500 books on marketing, sales, and business over a period of years. And so I would learn one thing one day, and I'd teach it to a client the next day, and then I'd refine that, and then I'd create systems for it, and I wrote newsletters about it. When I got my first computer a couple of years after I went into business in 1986, I started to write a newsletter, and then I was doing a kind of a networking group called Community Entrepreneurs in San Francisco. And I got good at presenting and putting on meetings and how to promote meetings, and things. One thing just led to the other. Yeah. And then, I had my business in San Francisco for a number of years. And then I moved to Palo Alto for 7 years in Silicon Valley. And that kind of grew. And then trying to remember, just before I left to go live in Boulder Creek, I wrote a book called The Info Guru Marketing Manual. Okay. I think I came up with the term info guru in the shower one day. Information guru, if you're a consultant or a coach or a trainer, you're an info guru. Right. Or a writer or a speaker, those kind of people. So it was marketing for info guru. So I created that phrase and coined that phrase, that word. And so I wrote this book, and I sold a whole bunch of copies of it online. I launched my website in 1996. In 1997, I started to write an email newsletter. Yeah. And I've been writing that newsletter now for 23 years. Wow.
Is that every week you're doing that, or?
Every Tuesday, like clockwork. Now, over the pandemic, I started to write something every day, just to let, not the pandemic, excuse me. I did other things during the pandemic. We, in Boulder Creek here, we had fires in Boulder Creek, and we were evacuated from our house for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So for 2 weeks, I wrote a daily thing, a fire update, an evacuation update. And I liked writing something so much. For a whole month, I wrote something daily. And then I said, no, I'm going to go back to weekly. Anybody that does a daily newsletter, got to give them props, because that's tough work. Once a week is not so hard. Yeah. But I've been sending that out for 23 years, and all my business most of my business, almost all, comes from people who are subscribers to my newsletter. So
Okay.
it's really been a powerful marketing tool for me.
So,
Thousands of people all over the world subscribe
wow,
to it, and I've had clients all over the world because of it.
wow. So you agree with the old phrase that the time was a phrase that will never end, where the money is in the list.
Say once again.
The money is in the list.
The money is in the list. I've said that many times. No question about it. The money is still in the list. I have people on my list that have been on my list for 20 years. And,
Wow.
I get people that in my programs that have been on my list a short time, but it's not unusual. Oh, Robert, I've been on your list for 10 years.
Yeah.
I bought your manual a few years back. I attended a few classes, and then they end up in one of my big 9-month programs. So
That's
it
great.
still works.
That's
I
great.
put out a email that says, hey, I'm starting a new program in a couple months and I'm doing a webinar to talk about it.
Yeah.
Please attend. This is what we'll cover. A lot of people come, and those are the people that end up in my program.
Great stuff. Great stuff. So let's dive in. Let's get into the good part then. I hope you guys got a lot out of that already, because that's some great stuff already that he's already explained just through his journey. You should really write a lot of that stuff down. So let's dive right now into what you call the 5 keys to attracting your ideal high-end clients. Let's get into that.
Yeah, well, let me tell you about this for a minute. I'm a kind of guy that likes to create models and systems. I created a thing called Marketing Ball, where I use the baseball diamond and going around the bases to attract clients.
Yeah.
And I wrote about that in my manual, and I've used that with clients for years, et cetera, et cetera. But, I've sort of distilled my system down to 5 big things. And if you're a self-employed person, especially B2B, these 5 things are what you need to understand and master, and you really don't need anything else. But they're only 5 things, but there's endless depths with these things. So the first one, which was really kind of a double one, is be clear on exactly who your ideal clients are and clear on the ultimate outcome that you help your clients achieve. When people say, what do you do?
Yeah.
That should be your answer.
Yeah.
So I work with self-employed professionals like consultants, coaches, and trainers to help them attract more of their ideal high-end clients. So it's one idea. I work with these people and I help them do that. And it's amazing, Brian, how few people really articulate that well and powerfully.
Yeah.
They say, well, I do workshops on marketing. Well, so what? What does that mean to me?
Yeah.
I teach people some marketing principles. Well, so what? What does it mean to me? So people want to know, you work with people like me, and I help them get this result. So I call that the ultimate outcome. And that's the first thing in any of my programs. We make sure you've got your core marketing message down flat, and you know how to use it in a lot of different situations. You use it in print. You use it when you meet people. You use it on a podcast.
Yeah.
So people are clear. Now, they don't necessarily know how I do that yet, but they know that's a result. It's like, yeah, I want to attract high-end clients. How do you do that? So it's something that grabs attention. So that's number one. Number two is I recommend that if you're in this industry, that you create what I call an HEOB, and that's a high-end outcome-based program. So I have a 9-month program that's an HEOB, and I teach people how to do this. And so people offer programs in companies, or they have, like me, they have a number of people they work with in groups. But you're selling a program designed to produce a solution or a result, instead of, well, I'll do a little consulting and we'll see what happens. I have a program that I guarantee gets results. It's an involved program. We work hard on it. And we have a beginning, a middle, and an end. People develop their marketing strategies. They work with these principles, of course. And the very first thing we do is we're going to create and articulate your high-end outcome-based program. It's high-end. It's more expensive than some things. It's valuable. It really produces something that produces results, so it's worth something.
Yeah.
And it's outcome-based that it produces a result.
Yeah, let me stop you real quick, because I got a comment in there. Just a real comment from Rach Weeks. It says, so true. I guess regarding to your last point, to be specific to your audience is definitely a learned trait. So,
well, yeah, when I started, here was my brilliant marketing message when I started 35 years ago. I'm a small business consultant. That's what do you do? I'm a small business consultant. They say, oh, how nice for you. Right. I mean, but it took me a long time and many iterations and working with different groups and figuring out. So it's not, there's a lot of depth behind your message, because it's like, I really know who I work with. I've been working with these people a long time. I initiated the industry called marketing for self-employed people. No one was doing it before me online. I had the first website and first email newsletter about that. So, you have reality around that. It's not something you just make up one day. Oh yeah, I'm going to work with those people. I know these people, they're like me, etc. So whoever you work with, you might work with big corporations to figure out their supply chain, but you better be damn good at that to create a program that you can get their supply chain working better than they ever have before. Yeah. Whatever it is you do.
So just to back up on, just to confirm what you're saying, I want to make sure that people get this right, because this is something that I kind of work with too, as far as what you're saying. It takes some time to develop exactly who you're trying to serve, right? Sure. It's not something that you just. I really take offense to people who just like, you need to know who you're serving before you start, which is. Yeah, but if you have to really get into developing who that is. Don't you agree with that, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I started doing these workshops and I met with people and I found out what they needed. Right. And then I read 500 books over a number of years. So, and then it evolved over time. Some people, they say, I know I'm going to be a doctor when they're 5 years old. Then they become doctors. I don't know. Why would a 5-year-old know what you ought to be doing? See, I didn't really figure out what I really wanted to do in life until I started my business at 32. So, I've been doing it for a long time. But it's a process. It's discovery, Anyway, so that's principle number 2. You ought to develop a high-end program and know who you're offering it to. And because if you have a high-end program, you don't have to sell a zillion of them. See, to sell this manual, I just sell thousands of these manuals to make money. Right. But I only have to work with 35 clients a year to make a couple $100,000. Okay. So, that's what I like to do. I don't sell online stuff. I work virtually with people, but, let me ask you this, and I don't have to work with zillions of people.
Let me ask you this then. If you're okay with answering this, let me know if this is not okay. But when you say high-end program, can you tell us what that entails as far as the high-end program? Just like the
I rather not
components of that.
My actual prices for the program on something like this, Later on, if people want to get on my list, I do webinars and I tell the price. I'm not coy about it when I do that.
Gotcha.
But let's say it's a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
But I work with people that sell $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 programs.
Okay.
And if you're selling stuff to a medium or large company, and it's a number of months, you're selling a high-end program and you can make good money. So a lot of my clients, they just have 2 or 3 clients a year that they sell a big program to, usually a company, not to an individual like I sell to self-employed professionals.
Yeah, I wasn't really saying about pricing. I was just maybe like mentioning like the components. Are you okay with seeing what those components are? As far as, are they videos? Are they audio? Are they like
it's in person, but done virtually.
Checklist?
Yeah. So my program consists of 2 group meetings a month.
Okay.
I have 15 to 20 people on a Zoom call, the Hollywood Squares. I see everybody there. So I do 2 of those, and I'm teaching my principles and how this works and that works. I'm talking about the stuff I'm talking about here today.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 one-on-one meetings once a month with everybody. So I'm coaching them and helping them develop their messages and their materials and their presentations and selling and all of that stuff. And we have a plan and we go through it. So we do that. And then we have assignments. So after every group session, you have an assignment to work on something, to put something together, to write something, whatever. A lot of different kinds of assignments. And then we have a weekly accountability where every Monday on Slack, people say, this is what I'm doing today, and this is what I'm going to work on this week. This is what I accomplished last week.
Nice.
And then I have a lot of materials that I give people, and sometimes a video here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm always writing stuff and sending materials, and have a lot of components and modules of various things for the marketing process.
So it's obviously very robust. So
yeah, very
great
robust.
stuff. Great stuff.
I've been teaching this stuff for so long, I've probably forgotten more things to know. But, there's a lot of ideas. But I really distill it down to these 5 things, learn exactly who your clients are and what you're offering, create a high-end program to do that. Number 3, and this in many ways is the hardest for a lot of people, you have to learn strategies to get your name and message and yourself in front of your prospective client.
Yeah.
And, whether it's individually or through networking or through giving talks or through doing webinars, there's a lot of ways, but you've got to crack the code on that. So we really work hard individually because every client's a bit different. Some people say, oh man, I'd love to give talks, or, I like to be interviewed.
Yeah.
So getting interviewed, it's a great way to market yourself. It's
Right.
like giving a talk virtually. That's a great way to market yourself. So, and then I often say what you want to do is build your list.
Yeah.
Build your list so people find out about me. They go and get my free stuff. They get on my list and they get my weekly newsletter. And some of those people may or may not buy something from me or be in my program, at some point. That's how I do it. But I've really gotten good. Before the internet, pre-internet, remember pre-internet? Were you alive then?
I was. I definitely was.
1996. So I was 40 something then.
Okay.
Before then, I used to go out to professional groups and give a lot of talks. And after the talk, I'd say, I have this report and I cover a lot of things. Would you like a copy of this report? And if you would, raise your hands right now. Okay, good. Now hand me your business cards and I'll send it to you.
Nice.
And that's how I'd get people on my list. And I get a lot of people on my list like that. And I did that before the internet and I did it after the internet. And I added people to my email list after I gave talks. So when I was in Palo Alto, I gave a lot of talks. In fact, I moved from San Francisco to Palo Alto and my pipeline died. It's like I have nobody here. So I said, I better get out there and give some talks.
Yeah.
So I put together some materials. I picked up the phone. I talked, in the Silicon Valley area. And I said, I have a talk on how to track clients for self-employed people. Do you think you might be interested? And some said, yeah, we might be interested. Send us some materials. So I'd send some materials and I'd follow up and I'd get booked. And as a result of that, in 6 months, in 26 weeks, I attracted 26 new clients. And my business never slowed down after that. I went out and did similar talks on how to attract clients, and I've been doing that on and off for years. When I got onto the internet and I started to build my list more and more, I started to do introductory teleconferences. And I'd say, here's my new program, and here's what it's about, and here's how it works. And if you're interested, here's how you sign up. And I'd send them to my webpage. And then I'd get programs with 20 to 90 people on them. And I did teleconference programs for, more than 10 years.
Okay.
You know, for quite a long time. I did some of my highest end programs were teleconferences. But in the last couple of years, I've gone all in on Zoom, which is so much better. I mean, I have 10, 12, 15 people in a class. If I had a big class with 90 people, I didn't get people. I was just teaching stuff. But I like the more intimate classes where I gave homework, you know, the kind of thing we do. And then I meet with people one-on-one by phone. But it took me 4 or 5 sessions just to recognize everybody's voice and who everybody was.
Right.
I have to remember, you know, you did that. It was hard. But now with Zoom, you see everybody and know who everybody is. You can see them scratching their head when you say something. You say, you have a question. It's fantastic. I love teaching on Zoom.
So you like Zoom.
Love it.
You like doing, let me just see if I can ask a question that my audience might not have asked you, or said a comment on about this. You're doing things that presumably some people might be afraid to do, getting on the phone or asking or marketing themselves, thinking that they're worthy of doing this. Is that something that's innate in you, or something that you learn to get over? Because I just see fear coming through that whole thing of asking.
It's a really good question. It's a really good question, Brian. You know, I wrote a little book on how to get unstuck from stuff like that. It's such an issue that I wrote a book called The Unstuck Process.
Okay.
You can get it on Amazon. You can't get this book anymore. This is out of print, but I give free copies of this to all the people who do it in my programs. But yeah, I mean, what will people think of me? What do I say? What if they reject me?
Right.
They won't be interested. Blah, 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 blah. You know, I couldn't, you know, when I started my business, I couldn't market myself out of a wet paper bag. I couldn't sell myself. I didn't know, you know, I wasn't good at it. Took me a lot of time. And so I did a lot of studying. I read a lot, all those books I mentioned, and practiced things. And I did personal development courses and transformational courses. I did Byron Katie's work, which that book that I wrote came out of Byron Katie. I don't know if you're familiar with Byron Katie, but she's she's an amazing person with great ideas about how to get past your false thoughts about stuff.
Yeah.
So you question your thoughts. Is it really true if I call somebody or I follow up with somebody? You know, after those talks I gave, I collected business cards, and then no one was calling me after the talk.
Okay.
It wasn't happening. It's you know, people would say, "Oh yeah, I got these cards. So why aren't they calling me?" Because they don't. That's you know, except you know, a very, very, very small percentage. But I would call them up and say, "Hey, thanks so much for attending the talk. I hope it was valuable. And I wanted to know if you might like to talk about how you could attract more clients. Is that something that's important to you?" So I developed scripts, I developed approaches, till after a while, I just got fearless. I could call anybody. Well, maybe not.
But it's something that you have to build on, which is part of my motto.
Yeah, like anything. It's you know, that's why I say number 3 is the hardest. You got to get in front of people, and you got to get meetings with people.
Okay.
You know, this is what often people don't understand. It's like I'm marketing. I'm writing a lot of articles. I'm putting stuff on Medium. I'm doing stuff on social media, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is there's more stuff out there. You know, there's more knowledge put out on social media and the web every day than there was in the first 10,000 years of human history.
Wow.
something like that. That's an inaccurate stat, but it's real.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I did some research on that, on the number of new web pages per day, and the number of articles per day, and the number of social media posts, and it's astronomical. When I started my website in 1996, there were 250,000 websites.
Yeah.
250,000. 10 years later, there were 250 million.
Wow.
So that's 1,000 times as many. And then 8 years after that, guess how many? There's 2 billion,
Yeah.
which is now 8,000 times more websites. So
is that more intimidating, or that's just the way it is?
Well, it's like being lost in a haystack instead of a needle stack instead of a haystack. I mean, I'm one of 2 billion websites.
Yeah.
So it's harder and harder to be found on the web. So people do a lot of work on SEO and all that stuff. I don't know any of that stuff.
Okay.
I just work on my list and building the relationship with my list.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't worry about my website anymore. It's like I connect with people that way. And then when I have a program, I say, hey, I got a webinar.
There you go.
Which brings us to number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So once you know who you are and you've got a high-end program and you've got some strategies to get in front of people, what I recommend everybody do is create an in-depth presentation that explains what your service is.
Mm.
See,
Okay.
selling is hard because people don't understand what the heck you do, especially if you're a self-employed professional that offers some esoteric business service.
Yeah.
I can talk for a long time about what I do. But instead of doing that, I do a presentation via webinar.
Yeah.
And it answers all the questions about how to market yourself effectively. Now, I can't give people every strategy, everything. That takes a long 9-month program, right? But I give them, here's the main things. I talk about these 5 things in depth. I have slides that explain all of these. And I'm just talking about this more off the cuff.
Okay.
And I say, this is what you need to learn. And if you learn that, these are the kind of results you get. You start attracting more clients, better clients, higher paying clients, like I've done and my clients have done over the years. And I have this program, and this is what's my program. I explain the program and how it works and what it costs. And then I say, I have a crazy, insane offer.
Exactly. Exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
It's fairly new. And my insane offer is you can do the first month of the program for free, no cost or obligation whatsoever.
Okay.
And then if you like it, you can continue, but you have to pay after that. And you pay monthly. And people love that offer because it's no risk. They say, well, often people say, well, I like the program, but if I have to pay up front, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I remove the risk.
Awesome.
So you make an offer.
So yeah, like a free trial. I like that idea.
Yeah. So you number 4 is you create a presentation and you offer this presentation through a webinar or whatever, and then you make the offer and then how I do it is I say, if you think you're interested, you have to talk to me first. I can't just let you sign up. I have to make sure you're right for the program, you're a good fit. So I said, if you think you might be interested in this offer, the free month, and then look at doing the program, send me an email right now, I tell people.
Yeah.
And then I set up a meeting via Zoom and we talk to them and I find out about their business and see if it's a good fit. And here's the thing, here's the really exciting thing about presentations and compared to other marketing methods is that once they meet with you, all their questions have been answered. So they have no questions. They know exactly what it is. True. And they're really interested. They usually have like one question.
Yeah.
Will I have to do this? Or how about that? Or will it work for that?
Right.
Other than that, they love it. They love the idea of it.
So that presentation kind of filters out your ideal client from that presentation. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. They know who I work with, how I work, what I cover, what the results are, who's done it before, how it's structured. You see, I just wrote an article on this in my email newsletter called 13 Questions Every Prospect Wants to Know.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so everyone has these questions. I have them right here. Why do I need it? What problems does this service address? What results will it get? How does it work? What are the underlying methodologies of what you do? What is it not? And how are you different from everybody else? How is your program structured, or your service structured? Does it really work? Where's the proof? And who else has done it? And what is the guarantee? And what does it cost? And how do I get started? And so in a presentation, essentially you answer all those questions.
Yeah. All their objections, basically. Yeah.
But that's what you do. And see, when people really understand what you're offering and how it works and the results it gets, if they're qualified, there's a chance that you do that. So 20% of the people that show up for my webinar end up signing up for my program, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. So I do a few webinars and I fill my program. And that's it. And that's all the marketing I do. Great. Now, I'm sending out my e-zine every week, but I write that thing in half an hour once a week. How hard is that? I wrote it last night.
Okay.
I wrote it last night, so it wasn't, because I had a couple interviews today, so I usually write it on Mondays.
Yeah.
So my marketing, and you can get your marketing that simple. You know what you're doing. You have a high-end program. You have various ways to get in front of people. That's definitely the most complex and is the most work. Then you create a presentation that's powerful and explains what you do. You present it to anyone you can. And you make an offer, an irresistible offer. Now, I want to also say that a lot of people don't realize you can do a slide presentation and present it to one person in a company who's the buyer in the company.
Yeah. Okay.
You've got a connection. You met them, however. You met them on LinkedIn. Maybe they were on your list, however they got there. And you ask, I help people like you get this kind of result. Are you interested in that? Yeah, we're interested in that. We're interested in that ultimate outcome. You're not saying, are you interested in my program? Are you interested in that result? What's in it for me, right? Not the other way around. If they say, yeah, you say, well, I put together a few slides together. It really explains how I help companies get that result consistently. Would you like to see it? You know what? Okay. If they were really interested in that ultimate outcome, they'll say, sure, I'd love to see it. People like someone that's organized, that has a system, that communicates clearly about their value. They don't want to just blah, blah, blah on the phone for a long time about, just tell me what you got and how it works. I'm interested in that. Now, not everyone will be interested.
Right.
But some will be interested.
Yeah.
Now, if you ever, I used to stay up late at night and watch infomercials on TV.
The great stuff. The great sales. It's great. It's a great way. It's a great way to learn how to sell.
So a presentation is sort of like your own personal live infomercial.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's simpler because you don't have to get all these videos and all this stuff. Right. Infomercials cost a lot of money to put together, and you have to rent the time on the TV, and it wouldn't work for my kind of business anyway. It works for gadgets and exercise equipment that my basement is full of because of infomercials.
Right.
I love infomercials. I watch,
yes.
And now infomercials are on YouTube. You're watching your YouTube, all of a sudden there's an infomercial. It's about half an hour long or longer.
Right.
Sometimes I'll watch the whole damn thing if it's really well done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people love presentations. If it's something they want and it's well presented and you're interesting and engaging and you say the right things, people sell billions of dollars worth of stuff through presentations. Okay. And yet, how many of us have a presentation?
Yeah.
Not enough.
Not enough. That's a great point. I love what you're saying. I love all this. So even with say if we did we went through your 5 steps, your 5 key things. They did all that, and for some reason, person that might just be starting out, they're just so uncomfortable with trying to, I guess, get that price point higher. They're very uncomfortable with a 2,000 or 3,000, 5,000 program right now because they just don't feel like, I don't know, either they're unworthy or they don't have enough of a program to justify it.
This is true for everybody. Everybody is on a gradient or a scale, right?
Yes.
I'm on a certain level. I know people are on a level way above. I know a guy who does webinars and he sells several different kinds of programs and he trains people. He does stuff by Zoom like I do. Shorter, he usually does 8-week programs. 8-week programs that cost $4,000. And you know what? The guy makes close to $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
And he has to work harder than I ever want to work.
Okay. Yeah.
He's got a new promotion every day for something. The guy is just prolific. He has a team of 7 people working for him.
Yeah.
You can do that as well. But whatever you do, however you want to grow, if you really want to make something happen in your business, do these things. It's your choice how big you want to get. I like to have a 1-person business. I have no boss. I have nobody I have to manage. I love that.
Yeah.
But I can make a few $100,000 a year doing this, and so can a lot of people. Most of my clients are 1-person businesses. That's what they do. They're consultants, coaches, trainers, or the combination of these things. And they're offering really powerful services that really change businesses. And so, you start where you start. I mean, you start at a fee and then you push it up a little bit. You go a little past your comfort zone.
Okay.
Want to hear a little exercise how to do that?
Yes, please.
You want to sell a program for $2,000.
Okay.
But you've only charged $1,000 up to this point. You want to double it because everyone else is charging more, right?
Right.
So what you do is you go around the house for a week practicing this. How much does your program cost? And you say, oh, you'll be happy that it's a lot less than you think. It's only $5,000. And then when you say 2,000, you'll think that's cheap. It's called cognitive dissonance.
Okay.
Think larger. I mean, seriously, do that. Oh, it's only this. Now you're not charging that. Well, the thing is, I've had people do that and end up charging that fee, and they said everybody bought it. This is one of my favorite stories. I have a client, a couple from England, and they were coaches, business coaches, and they were really kick-ass business coaches. They helped managers and leaders produce incredible results.
Yeah.
But I looked at the fees they were charging, and I said, I think you could be charging about twice what you're charging.
Wow.
They went, oh my God, we can't do that. And I said, why not? Everybody else is charging this. Well, we don't want to be greedy. Well, tell me more about that. And it turns out they were both brought up in households that weren't rich. They were kind of poor.
Yeah.
And both their parents told them both the same thing, interestingly. Maybe that's why they attracted each other. But they both said, rich people are dishonest.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I said, so do you have that belief? And they said, I guess we do. Yeah, rich people, we think of them as dishonest people. And our parents said rich people are dishonest, but we're honest. But they were poor.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible thought to have,
Yeah.
Money isn't everything, but poor isn't everything either. So you can make good money and be honest.
Yeah.
I don't cheat anybody. I'm honest. I have a guarantee for my service, for God's sake. So it's honest. So they got it, and they doubled their fees, and nobody pushed back. They said, "Oh, fine, no problem." They probably could have increased them more. They probably have since then. This was many years ago. So, you have to, it's how you're thinking about it. So you can keep saying, well, I can't, or you can look at your thinking, look at your programming, look at your comfort zone and play with that a bit.
Okay.
It'll be scary a little bit, but I promise you this, I've never had a client die because they asked for more than they were comfortable with. Never had a death.
Right.
No deaths in action plan marketing.
Right.
I had people say, oh, I was breaking out in a cold sweat. I was stuttering. My mouth was dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after a while, it's just, oh, yeah, the program's $2,000. Does that fit in with your budget right now? Oh, yeah, we can do it. No problem. Or they can't, and you move on. What's the worst that can happen? They could say no. Are they going to send a hitman to take you out?
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Right.
People imagine the worst things will happen if I put myself out there.
Yeah.
If I say what, I've worked with all of that stuff. I mean, it really, people have fears. It's true. But you can slowly but surely work yourself through that. Or you can be addicted to your sad story of why you're not making any money.
I say it this way, just like, especially during this time of where we're at now, it's just think of this question: where are you going to be in that fear, in that state of fear for the rest of your life? Is that where you want to keep it?
Yeah. Well, everyone would say, no, I don't want to be there, but I don't know how to get out.
Right.
I don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
So it starts with questioning your thinking. Because we have a belief, like their belief, rich people are dishonest. We question that. And it was nonsense. They started to laugh and said, that's just nonsense. But it's acting on you. It's controlling you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who would you be? This is a Byron Katie question. Who would you be without that thought? Who would you be without that belief? Who would you be without that fear? And people go, well, I would be fearless. I would ask for more money. That wouldn't be so hard. I could be that person. It's possible. Yeah. Why not? I've been this poor, afraid person all my life. Does that mean that's cast in stone and I have to be like that? Who would I be without that? What's an alternative possibility? I'm not the kind of person that says, you should make $10 million a year. Maybe not. I don't make $10 million a year. God, I don't care. I make enough money to have a great lifestyle. I own a house in the country. I'm well fed. I have good retirement savings. I'm fine. We don't have to be ultra rich.
You're free.
But it's not that hard to be comfortable and successful if you're a professional. Okay. But I know people that are hardly making a living because they're stuck with marketing and selling. And you learn these 5 principles and you commit to learning those 5 principles, and you can be very successful. And I didn't believe it at first. I have a guy who lives in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
Last time I talked to him, he says, I'm now making $900,000 a year as an independent consultant. I think he has an assistant. That's it.
Wow.
He created big, high-end, outcome-based programs.
Okay. That's great stuff.
Here's the thing. I've been sending emails out about stuff, and I thought about him because I just got an email from him last week. He says, Robert, I'm thinking of doing your next program because I think I want support to go to the next level.
Wow.
So, people who are finding a way to make it work are always looking for support. They're looking for ideas. They're being on podcasts like this. They're reading books. They're reading articles. They're looking for stuff. Even ridiculously successful people. And you can get ridiculously successful and do really well.
Yeah.
And stuff happens. I mean,
Yeah.
Remember the thing from Monty Python? Nobody expected the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
Nobody expected coronavirus would shut
Right.
down the country for a year.
Right.
But, I've made more money in the last 6 months in coronavirus than I did in the previous 6 months.
Wow.
So it hasn't stopped me. But, I've been virtual online. I have a email list.
Yeah.
The first thing that happened when coronavirus hit, I started to do some free webinars just to help people. So it's not just I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to help people. My life is about helping people, making a contribution. Yeah. So I did these webinars called Going Radically Virtual. Here's what you need to do now. This is what I've been doing on Zoom for a couple of years. Here's what you can do as well. Here's how you can do webinars on Zoom. So we talked about a lot of stuff that you could do virtually. Yeah. And a lot of people took that on and they made it happen for themselves. Instead of, I can't do anything because I can't meet with anybody. Well, this is as good as any conversation I've had with anybody person to person. In fact, often these are better. And I don't have to worry about coughing on you. I don't have to wear a mask.
Right.
So
right.
I'm safe here in my mountain hideaway, working with 35 consultants, coaches, and trainers through Zoom and using these 5 principles. Awesome. I figured it out, and I teach people how to do it.
I love the 5 principles. This is a great talk. I hope everybody's getting a lot out of this. And if you missed any of this beginning, you have to go back and watch these 5 principles, or listen to it on the podcast later on, because they are gold. This is the real deal here. Robert Middleton, you are the real deal. Trust me when I say about you have to go back and listen to this. Now, I have one last question though before we get out of here.
Good. Your questions are great, Brian.
Huh?
Your questions are great.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have one last question. I ask this of all of my guests, and it goes something like this. People like what you're saying. They really agree. We got somebody saying, "Thank you so much, Rachel." We got a lot out of it, just like I did. Great stuff there. But they like what you're saying. They love the path that you were taking, and the principles that you're teaching, and they have similar interests. They have similar goals, similar journeys.
Yeah.
And they want to do what you're doing. Can you give them like a few tips right now, either a few tips or just some words of advice on how to become an authority in this space?
Wow. I've created a few thousand competitors. In my InfoGuru manual, one day someone said, somebody has look at their website, and they'd copied my website verbatim.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that. But so you got to put a lot of study time in. Marketing is a tricky thing to do. You got to put a lot of study time in.
Yeah.
I don't take people into my class that are going to be competitors anymore. It just doesn't work for me anymore. I used to. In fact, I used to have a certification people. I trained 36 people in my methodologies, but I decided that wasn't my direction. Yeah. But, there's certain books that you should read. You should read Influence by Robert Cialdini. Is a really important book.
Yeah.
And here's another one. I have it right here. This book was written 30 years ago, but man, is it good. Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty by Harvey Mackay.
Okay.
It's a book on networking and developing business relationships. Man, this is one of the best business books ever written.
Wow.
Those 2 books are a good start.
Okay. That's great stuff. You got it there, folks. You got some some bonus stuff there. Great stuff. I'm going to get these books. What was the book that you said you wrote earlier today? I want to get that out there too. Again, if you just say that again.
Yeah, well, it's the InfoGuru Marketing Manual. Now,
but the other book
on my list, you'll get emails about my club. In my club, I have the manual and a dozen courses and another book, and I have a huge amount of stuff but it's pretty pricey though.
Yeah.
$9 a month. So I
So-
give away a lot of stuff almost for free. So get on my list, and also you can find information about the club on my website. So actionplan.club, you can find under programs, you'll find about the club, and that's $9 a month. But I'm not there helping you. It's just stuff. It's recordings, it's written stuff, it's these books, it's just a ton of stuff.
Awesome. I love it. And Rach Weeks, what's the influence? I believe it's influenced by Robert Cialdini, I believe.
Cialdini, right. It's a classic
Yeah.
in the marketing field because it talks about the things that persuade people. It's a fascinating book.
It's an incredible book.
You read it too?
One of those principles in that book, it's like in my DNA. One of those principles in that book for sure, for many, many years. So definitely everyone should have that on their mental somewhere.
Things like social proof, and I can't remember them all, but certain things. So for instance, when you're giving a presentation, you say, here's some people that have done my program and their results. That's social proof. It's like, it helps people go, okay, that sounds safe.
Yeah.
Also offering the free thing up front. People are more likely to take something small before they take something big.
Absolutely.
Although conversely, if you offer something big and then show that you can take something small, you get incredible results. Essentially, that's what I do. Here's what the program, here's what it's cost, but you can start it for free. That's a Cialdini principle.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
Awesome. And we got some thanks all around from Rach Weeks from helping us out here and helping her out here in this episode. I'm just a provider. He's the man. Robert is definitely the man. And please tell people, now that we're finished with my last question, how to reach you after the show.
Just go to my website.
Okay.
There's a contact form there, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
I like people reaching me by email. It works better than by phone. So you'll find my email address, and there's a form on the Contact Us page.
Okay. And we have the link.
Notice that it's actionplan.club, not com. Don't ask me why. It's a long story. But actionplan.club. I also own .com. That's where, get this, that's where my club is. My club is on .com.
Okay.
My com is on .club. So.
Okay, gotcha. So actionplan.club, then / rather, either way you say it, free -STUF.
Well, no, it's two F's.
The two F's?
Whoops.
You know what? The one F still went through for some reason.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I sent that to you wrong.
Oh, no worries.
It's free stuff.
We'll fix that right away.
But, if you go to the site actionplan.club, you'll see a thing that says free on it. It's right there. So
okay.
It's pretty okay, good.
So free -stuff. That's even easier for me to say. So actionplan.club / free -stuff for people listening later on the podcast and want to get that.
One other thing. The presentation?
Yeah.
I'm putting this up. It might be for a limited time. I don't know. I have the free book, ebook called Get More Meetings, Land More Clients. It's all about getting meetings. Okay. And then I have another thing I added to that, which is my Rosetta Stone template for presentations called Presentation Narrative Template.
Nice.
And it shows you how to create the 60 or so slides for a powerful presentation. I shouldn't be giving that away free. It's worth its weight in diamonds, but I am.
Okay.
Make sure to get that, try it out.
Awesome. That's great stuff. Appreciate that. Everybody go get that right away. Because I think that's the centerpiece of everything he's talking about here. So get that before he changes his mind. Okay. Great stuff. I have no other words. This is amazing. I have.
Thank you, Brian.
You've exceeded my expectations on here. I knew you were going to crush it, but this is just amazing stuff here. And really, before you guys go, remember to check out my email list, theauthorityletter.com, or text We Are Live to 44222. Join the list and build your platform. Throughout these weeks, I'm helping you build. How do I say it? Build it, share it, so they will come. So that's what the whole thing's about. So
build it, share it, something will come. That's good.
Yeah.
Good marketing line.
So that's what that's about. It's going to be a great week this week if you get on that.
Hey, Brian, do me a favor.
Sure.
Send me your mailing address, and I'll send you a copy of my manual.
Oh, awesome. Sure.
I'll stick it in the mail to you. I'll be happy to.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on here. I think this was just amazing. I mean, just platinum stuff. Platinum stuff. Great stuff here, guys. I have no other words. Just everybody, you have about 2 more months to get this 2020 right. I know it's been a crazy year, but take the information that you got from Robert today, use it, and just try to finish this year off strong. I know you can do it. And that's all I got to say. Unless you have any other final words, Robert.
No, just keep at it. You know, my logo is actionplan.com. Get out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you can think a lot of stuff, you can plan a stuff, but unless you get out there, in whatever way, nothing's going to happen. Get in front of people. Get out there.
I love it. There it is.
Okay.
I have no words. I have no other words. Everybody, get out there, like you said, and we will see you on the next episode of The Authority Project. Take care.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.